Hey guys, doing some more work on the bike. At the end of each day, I'm trying to pick away some more at it and just kind of get her wrapped up. Where I left off yesterday, I had it running and smoking at an idle. Unfortunately, I think it's the oil ring is not popping back out. I let it run for quite a while, and then I put some Marvel in the crankcase, just straight Marvel. Kind of the same idea as running kerosene in it, real thin oil to try to get it to pop, and it still wouldn't do it. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to run it around either smoking for a while, which I can do, just so it's making a mess out of the back tire, or just pull the motor apart and hopefully we can just kind of free the rings up and hone the cylinder, because I don't know if I'll be able to get rings for it, but I gotta do something about it eventually. But I'm not going to deal with that right now. I'm just going to kind of continue on. Oh yeah, here's what I'm trying to work on for a throttle. I wanted to come up with something, I don't know, my own kind of style. And there's a piece of pipe that I slit down the center of it, cut some meat out of it, squeezed it back together to come just a little bit bigger than the handlebars. And then there is a washer with a nut welded on the end of the handlebar, and then there's this bolt that holds the whole assembly on, so it could be a throttle without having to let go of it, without having to slide off of it anyway. And my plan is, once I get it all said and done, I'm just going to tack that nut to here, so that'll roll each time with the threads too. You don't have to worry about it backing off, and the cable is only going to be able to move so far, so that'll be the whole travel of it. So what you see here is a piece of copper tubing I got kind of bent around the handlebars, up around, and I found the center point, which is basically going to be dead center over the top of this, where the handlebars turn, and this point will not move at all. So that going to this one, as you work the throttle, the cable will not get longer or shorter. It'll stay dead center. There's a string in there for now. And it kind of goes down around the frame, down around, meets another one, goes through a piece of brass that piece of copper pipe that I flattened out and made a little bracket out of, and then back to the carburetor. Each end I flared so there wouldn't be any rubbing on it, and then I kind of filled the tubing with oil. It may or may not work. I have a feeling I'm just going to get too much resistance trying to make all the curves. I might end up maybe getting rid of this one. I did have a cable in there. Unfortunately, when I was modifying it, I cut the cable with the whiz wheel, and they started fraying themselves. So that's that part. Where did I leave those cables? Where did I leave that shit? Over there. And this is kind of like what I'm using for cable. And I should just use the actual cable, right? Just doesn't look right to me. But this will be the cable that goes inside those tubing. And it's just a bicycle shifter cable. They come in Walmart kits. There's 5 or 6 cables in a box, and they're like $8. All right. Now I do know I have another problem with that back rim. The drive pulley on the rim is off center, so when it's rolling, it's doing one of these, and the belt's getting tight and loose, tight and loose. Because of that, I end up having to leave the chain loose on here because it's not centered. So at the tight point, it doesn't pull too much on the tight side. I was able to take the throttle. I just turned it up, and I actually took it down the driveway, kind of pushed the bike a little bit, pushed the thing in gear, and I could tell by how low the motor's thumping and how fast the bike is going, I can't go any smaller on the ratio. I was thinking about putting a 20-inch rim on there to change the gear ratio, but I'm not going to be able to do it. I'd actually have to pedal the bike up to about 10 miles an hour, then put the thing in gear to be able to go, and I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to give it some gas and drop it in and, you know, take off from the start without pedaling. So with that, we are going to I should go back a little bit. These clamps are not going to be here. Don't disbar with the tie wraps and that. It's just to get the layout of it. What I'm going to do is kind of like what you see here with the this is copper out of your copper wiring. It's actually the ground lug of it. I just cut that up into sections and made my my standoffs. They're pretty strong. What I will do is I'll go around the frame and I'll tie wrap it kind of with the copper wire to give it that same look. All right, now the back rim. The other one I put together, it was kind of experimental while I was working on it, and I did not have a good, I was experimenting. It's the first one I ever made, and I kind of did something like this, but I tried welding these little horseshoes, these looking things. These are actually retainers for copper piping in your basement. Little, what do you call them? Big staples. So what I was doing before, I would weld it there and then weld it to the rim, spin the rim around, weld it there, weld it to the rim, and it got kind of out of control as far as trying to recorrect it as you went along. So this time what I did is, you can see what the marks are, wherever I can get one that I didn't have any piping in the way. Let me back up a little further. What I did was I cut the spokes out, trued this rim up first as best I could with a spoke adjuster, and got as true as I could, got as little play in the center as I could so that it didn't move much, and then took just spacers that were roughly the same even size, which is going to be the threaded rods, and I put those 3 threaded rods in there, tie wrapped it down to it to kind of give it a hold a little bit. Last time I didn't do that, it was just kind of floating over there, and just kept spinning it on the stand using a jack, a pair of ice grips, and another one. I can kind of watch where it is. This one's not perfect neither. It's got it's a little oval shaped, so you get 2 spots where it touches and 2 spots where it's away a little bit. But if you spin it, you can kind of see that it gets real close in 2 spots and open. And it's not much. I mean, you're talking maybe a 1/16 of an inch, which is fine. It's not gonna be that big. The other one's out a good 1/4 of an inch, something like that. Yeah, maybe even a little more, 3/8. So the belt goes tight and loose. So anyway, what I ended up doing was going and welding in wherever I needed a spacer, and I used the holes of the old spokes for my locations. So every other one is where a spacer, where a shim goes. So having said that, I got the ones in that I could, and then I'm going to go around and weld the back sides of them, and then I'll fill in with the others. And you can actually see that. If I could hold myself still. It pretty much follows the other rim. And after I'm all said and done, I could still adjust the spokes on this rim if the whole thing is out a little bit after it gets heated up from the welder. So that's take 2 on it. And that's how I go about doing them. Very low weld. I'm on setting A and very low wire feed speed, because this is actually very thin metal. It's all just rolled up like sheet metal, rolled into a lip, so there's not much there. But guys, that's the continuing the battle. I just want to keep moving forward on this thing, and hopefully be able to have a throttle and a decent rim. I could actually ride the bike fairly nice. Another thing's pretty cool. I had it up in the air. You could just take, when you put it in gear, you just grab the bottom of the tire and give it a tug. It'll start the motor. So I could actually get rid of the pull start if I wanted to. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, and a couple of emails, people asking how we did for the weather. We made out real good. Just a bunch of brush that's down all over the place. You can see a little cleanup in the front of the yard there. That one's full, kind of showing its usefulness while it's out for sale. And then the rat rod loaded wood and doing more. But yeah, just a bunch of brush down around here. Nothing got damaged. No holes in the 10 garages, which I was surprised. Those are kind of what I always fear. Alright guys, take care. Bye bye.